Hello, and welcome to Trusting Connections. My name is Rosalind Prather, and I am one of TC's co-founders. I want to welcome you to our agency and thank you so much for entrusting your family to Trusting Connections. Today, I want to go over all the most important things you need to know about using our sitter service. By the end of this video, you'll know more about how to schedule care, what the benefits of membership are, how our pricing works, and more. All right, so here is your service guide, and this information will be very helpful as you continue in our agency. But I want to point out some of the most important things. The first is just a welcome letter from my business partner and I. And I think it's really important for you to put some faces to the name. Even though our agency has grown, it's so important to us that we still maintain that small business feel and want you to know that you are never just a number, that we definitely are going to take the time to know your family as we continue in this process. And I encourage you to get to know more about our team. Under the About Us section of our website, you can see information about all of our team members that'll be working with you. And many of us are moms. Many of us have been in the childcare industry for many years. So just keep that in mind as you work with us and just rest in the comfort of knowing that we've been there and we get it, and we're really excited to help. So the first thing that we want to talk about is how the membership fees work. Now, you don't have to become a member in order to utilize our sitter service, although membership almost always pays for itself. You can use us as a non-member, but truly, unless you're just going to be using us 1 or 2 times a year, we strongly recommend a membership. So the membership includes access to our team of fully screened agency employed nannies and sitters. And it also includes complimentary backup care 24/7, 365 days a year. If you weren't a member and you were to request a sitter with less than 24 hours notice, actually it's 48 hours notice, you would have an urgency fee, and that is explained on this page in the additional fees section. We have two different main membership types, Classic and Classic Reserve. Our Classic membership is best for families that have inconsistent care needs or want to just use us on an occasional basis. The 3-month membership is $120, the 6-month membership is $180, and the 12-month membership is $240. Please note that these memberships do automatically renew at the end of each term unless canceled in writing. About a month before they expire, you will get an email from us saying, hey, it looks like your membership is ready to expire. Would like to renew? And if not, it'll have a link to a form that you can fill out to cancel your membership. The Classic Reserve membership, we have 3 types as well. We have 3-month, 6-month, and 12-month. The 3-month is $249, 6-month is $349, and the 12-month membership is $499. Now, the only difference between Classic membership and the Classic Reserve membership is with Classic Reserve, it's only for clients that have a set, consistent schedule each week. So you'll be using us the same days and times each week. Let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 to 5, in which case we can reserve one of our caregivers to work with your family on a regular basis. If you ever decide that Classic membership might be a good fit for you, please reach out. But these are the two main membership types through our sitter service. It's important to note too that you can always go back and forth between the two. So like I said, if you start with Classic, you can always upgrade to Classic Reserve. If you're in a Classic Reserve membership but your needs change, you can always downgrade. Same with the membership lengths. Sometimes families want to start with a 3-month membership just to try us out, but they almost always extend that because it's obviously more cost effective to do the longer memberships. As far as our rates and fees go, our hourly rates are all inclusive. So they cover the nanny's salary, taxes, insurance, and agency fees. We do have a 2-hour minimum per shift, and anything less than a 3.5-hour shift is considered quick care. So it's an additional $3 per hour. And that's just because we pay the nanny extra to drive for such a short trip, just to make it more worth their while. The way the 2-hour minimum works is even if you just needed a nanny for school pickup, and let's say it was an 1.5-hour shift, you're still going to be charged that 2 hours at least, and then it's going to be at the quick care rate. The quick care rate drops once the shift, again, is 3.5 hours in length or more. And so you'll notice we have member rates and non-member rates. Non-member rates are about $4 more per hour, so it adds up quickly. We have the regular TC care rate for 1 to 2 children, and then the TC care rate for 3 or more children. The infant care rate for 1 to 2 children, and the infant care rate for 3 or more children. If any child in the home is less than 12 months, we do have to send an infant nanny, and that's important, somebody that's had infant experience, and those nannies do make a little bit more money. And so if you had 3 children and one of them was an infant, you would be still in that infant care rate with 3+ children. Notice that this pricing might look a little different than you're used to. We happen to be looking at the Tucson service guide, but you'll want to make sure that you refer to the service guide for your location for specific pricing. We also have an overnight infant care rate, and that is for if you want the nanny to help with an overnight shift, maybe preparing bottles, doing some night wakings, diaper changes in the middle of the night so you can get some more sleep. And then we have an extended care rate. If you're going to need care for, let's say, a few days, and the shifts are 24 hours in length, or more, we can legally reduce a little bit for sleep time in terms of how we pay our employees. And so in that case, if you're paying for a full 24-hour shift or more, it's going to be a daily rate as opposed to an hourly rate. For that TC care rate, that original one at the top there, or infant care, often families wonder what is really included in that. Anything childcare related for sure is. So you can ask our nannies to do babies' laundry, kids' laundry, wash breast pump and bottle accessories, do the dishes from that the nanny has made, during the day, do kids' laundry. So anything directly childcare related is definitely fair game. You can also ask nannies to help with some meal prep or do some errands or any light housekeeping, like tidy up, wipe down countertops or unload or load the dishwasher. We ask that you don't ask the nannies to do any heavy housekeeping, which we would define as asking them to clean bathrooms or get out a mop. And so that's just something to keep in mind. And if you have any questions about what that looks like, please ask our scheduling team. But in general, we do encourage you to make the use of having an extra set of hands and get some help where you need it. For the additional fees, if you are outside of our service area, we would probably let you know that in advance, in which case you would have a gas fee. Again, if you are not a member, you would get an urgency fee, and that's $25 if you request care with less than 48 hours notice. If you are a member, you don't have to worry about that. The other benefit of membership is that you get priority scheduling. And so if you call as a member and a non-member calls, and we only have one nanny on call, the family that's a member is obviously going to get the nanny. And we're going to get more into the cancellation fees on the next page, but I also want to note that we do have a sick care surcharge. Oftentimes when you're asking nannies to provide sick care, we do require the nanny to wear a mask regardless, just to keep herself safe and from spreading germs to other clients. And we do pay her more for that. So it is a $3 per hour upcharge for that. And then moving on to the next page, let's talk about scheduling care for your family. So there are 3 main ways to schedule care. The first is in your client portal, which is what we recommend. And then the second option would be to call our scheduling manager, and her direct line is there in the care guide. And the third option would be to email caretucson@trustingconnections.com, Care Phoenix, or Care DFW, depending on where you're located. Please keep in mind that we do our best to fill all jobs, and we take a lot of pride in our fulfillment rate, wavering anywhere from 94% to 98%, just depending on the time of year. But we definitely cannot ever guarantee availability, and we wouldn't want anyone to register with that expectation, especially during busy seasons. There are times when a lot of our nannies are sick, and a lot of kids are sick, and it's just a bad combination. Our caregivers are really sent on a first come, first serve basis, and members do receive priority. We write the schedule every Thursday for the following week. And so we ask that you get any of your known care requests to us by Wednesday. And then when we write the schedule on Thursday, you'll get email confirmation of who we sent, and you'll see all of that in the portal. You can always request As a classic member, you can request a particular caregiver and you can do that in the portal. We just can't guarantee that we'll be able to send that person that you're wanting. And if you ever, again, reach a point where you can use this on a consistent basis and you do want someone reserved specifically for your family, we do recommend that Classic Reserve membership. We have an emergency backup care line that is always staffed by a TC employee. We don't use an answering service. And this is to be used if you need any immediate assistance after hours. The 1-800 number or 1888 number is there in your portal. And I encourage you to save that, put it on your fridge, have it in your phone. If anything happens after hours that is urgent and needs to be addressed immediately, you would call that number. If your call is not answered, you should leave a voicemail and your call should be returned within 30 minutes. This is if you need to cancel. This is if your nanny has not arrived. And please, if it's even 5 minutes past their scheduled arrival time, call us. Don't wait. Our nannies should be on time, on the dot. This is something that's really important. So we really also appreciate you planning ahead and ask that you're not using this service to make last minute care requests if it's at all avoidable, and that you get your care request into us by Wednesday. But obviously the benefit of our agency is that you can request care last minute. And this again is the number you would call if it's before business hours and you need to get a nanny that day. And we again do our very best to accommodate, but just know that it's not a guarantee. The other thing you want to keep in mind is that we don't allow any cancellations via email. If you need to cancel a shift, you need to do it via phone. As far as our payment policies go, you're going to be charged weekly with the ACH account on file for services rendered for the previous week. So you'll get kind of an invoice that shows this is what we'll be charging, and about 48 hours later, the charge will hit your account. If for whatever reason something looks weird to you, please let us know right away. If we're unable to process the payment, the card or the account that we have on file is not going through, you're going to need to promptly provide us with an alternate payment method just to avoid any late fees or interest. Remember, our hourly rates are all inclusive. However, some families may wish to tip our caregivers. It's not an expectation, but it's really greatly appreciated. As you know, it's a really hard time to hire people and retain really good help. And for people that do a great job, if you're able, they certainly appreciate gratuity. But again, it's not required. Keep in mind, too, that if you release the caregiver early for whatever reason at your convenience, that you're charged for the full booking anyway. So if you schedule from 9 to 5, come home at 3 and let the nanny go, you are still going to be charged until 5 o'clock. Our cancellation policy is as follows. We do require 24 hours notice for any cancellations or adjustments to the care booking. Obviously, we make exceptions for true emergencies or illnesses, but otherwise you're charged a $25 cancellation fee if less than 24 hours notice is given, and you're charged the full booking if less than 12 hours is given. Keep in mind that these nannies really rely on this income, and they've set aside all other job opportunities and shifts to care for your family. So when they're canceled on last minute, it impacts them financially. And that's why with such short notice and no time to fill their workday with another work opportunity, we do pay them anyway. Remember, to cancel, you do need to call, not email. And if it's after hours, call the after hours line. Auto renewals. Your membership is going to automatically renew at the end of each term unless you let us know in writing. So there's a form that you can fill out on our website, and you will be getting an email a month prior. If you want to cancel, you'll see in that email there'll be a link to do so, and it's our membership cancellation form. And also note that any membership fees and renewals are non-refundable. So make sure that you fill that out before it charges. Let's talk about some general care policies and what you can expect from our caregivers and what we ask of you as well. Please know that Caregivers are they're only allowed to provide care for families if it's been scheduled through our agency. This is one of the biggest rules of using an agency. We ask that you do not contact our employees outside of their scheduled work hours or any TC caregiver to provide services outside the agency. This is a big no-no. It violates our non-compete agreement. Our employees are aware of that as well. And if you were to engage the services of one of our employees privately, you would be subject to a placement fee. Caregivers are not permitted to use physical forms of punishment with children of any age. You have to have written permission on file for our nannies to administer medication, to drive children, or to take photos without written permission. And you can decide to what extent you are going to allow permission for those things in the portal. Caregivers should not accept personal phone calls while working. However, we might call them throughout the day if there are any changes to an upcoming shift. We do try to avoid that though when we can, because in general, our nannies should be fully engaged and not on their phones. If you ever see otherwise, please let us know, because that's something we would consider unacceptable for them to be on their phones for personal reasons during work hours. We are unable to provide sick care at this time if there is any adult or child in the household that has received a diagnosis that necessitates quarantine according to CDC guidelines for COVID. So, and for any sick shift, really, our employees are required to wear masks. You're also required to keep a working thermometer in your home, and will be asked to return if a child's fever reaches 103 degrees or higher, or if the child is vomiting or has diarrhea. So we ask that you have this make these available for any sick care shifts. If you are wanting to inquire about vaccinations, please know that our agency does not mandate vaccinations of any kind for our employees, not just COVID. We have many employees that have adverse reactions to vaccines or have doctors' recommendations against them. And we also want to respect their privacy. So we ask that you not inquire with any of our employees about their medical or vaccination status. If you are using our sitter service on a regular basis through our Classic Reserve membership, you can require a vaccination, and we'll make every effort to connect you with a caregiver that has voluntarily disclosed that they've been vaccinated. But as far as our regular sitter service goes, we can't guarantee the vaccination status of any of our employees. Our dress code is important, and we do require all of our nannies to follow a dress code that includes a company name badge and then a polo or an agency t-shirt. They should also wear jeans that aren't too tight, that aren't frayed or messy. They should not, just in general, they should just be very modest in their appearance. During the summer months, when some families may ask the nanny to participate in water play, we ask them to keep a modest bathing suit on hand. If you have any questions or concerns about the dress code, please bring it to our attention. Before each shift, all caregivers will have access to your portal and be able to read your care directives and information about your family. We also ask all of our caregivers to record events of the day on the Connect card, which is either a paper copy, which we're trying to phase out, or an electronic version. So if you do see the nanny on her phone, she might be filling out her Connect card, which is where she writes about meal times, sleep times, or any other events of the day. And he or she will also detail any hours worked and any additional fees. And this will serve somewhat as a receipt. Traveling outside the home. So we require written permission for the nanny to drive, and we require them to follow all safety precautions and driving laws, such as seat belts and proper car seat use. If you're requesting that the caregiver use her own vehicle or his own vehicle for any on-the-job driving, you will have to pay mileage at the set mileage rate. It's not the IRS rate. We charge a little extra because it helps pay for our insurance. The client is responsible for providing your own car seats. However, our caregivers are not allowed to install car seats into your vehicle. They can only install them into their own, and we really encourage you to actually install the car seats for them, because you as a parent is more likely to do it absolutely correctly according to your specific car seat. If you're asking one of our employees to use your vehicle, just know that you assume responsibility for any accidental damage. But obviously, if they're driving your vehicle, you do not have to reimburse for mileage. This page goes over just the different departments that we have and what it means for TC care, infant care, overnight care, and extended care. I already touched on those briefly, but you can read more about it in your service guide. Again, Classic Reserve membership is a great option, but really only for families that have a set, consistent schedule. I do want to add, because sometimes families will ask, what if I want this person to stay with my family for 6 months? Because these are our employees, it's not like a placement where they're making a year commitment to your family. But let's say you really need the nanny to get you through the next 6 months. We have an additional add on that is optional. And what you can do is you could pay $100 per month for every month that you want the nanny to commit. So if you're wanting the nanny to make a 6 month commitment, you can pay $600. And we ask the nanny in writing to make a good faith commitment to keep their existing availability to work with your family for that 6 month period. If at the end of that 6 month period they fulfilled their obligations, we bonus them with that money. And if they don't, it's fully refundable to you. So that's a nice option with our Classic Reserve membership. We've already covered the benefits of membership in terms of our hourly rate savings, priority scheduling, and urgency fees. But I also want to note that you do also earn free services. So as a member, if you refer another family who becomes a member, you do get a $50 credit to your account, and you can earn unlimited number of referral credits. This page has our staff directory and kind of explains what all of us do in the office. You're mostly going to be working with Julianne in our scheduling department throughout your time with our agency. She's fabulous. And you will also be getting your invoices from Natalie in our billing department. Just know that you can see whoever our current person is in this position, if that has changed in this service guide. It's really important that you receive our emails. So make sure that our emails are not going to spam. And we do send newsletters or important agency updates. And we ask that you read those emails just so you stay in the know. We promise not to bombard you because we hate junk email just like everybody else does. This page is important if you ever think you want to do a placement. And by placement, I mean hiring a nanny directly that makes a year commitment to your family. This is typically a better service for families that are offering a full-time position and need a candidate for a year or more. If you have any additional questions, you can reach out to us, but this kind of goes through the process and what that looks like. And that is it. We have gone through the service guide. I hope this was helpful for you. Please know that we have an entire team that would be happy to answer any of your questions. And we're so grateful that you chose Trusting Connections for your family's care needs. And we really look forward to serving you.